What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ace. Today we're going to be checking out a video by Swagkage. It's been a minute. I haven't posted in a while because my phone camera broke and I record my videos on my phone. So now that I got a replacement, I can do videos again. And a lot of stuff's broken in 2020. Look at my glasses, bro. That stuff fell off. So I'm excited to start posting some more content again. We're going back to Avatar reactions, going back to Swagkage reactions. Just because there's been a lot of you people requesting it. So, we're back to the anime content. And today we're going to be reacting to... Oh, by the way, you guys check out the new wall. Got the new prints. You got Gogeta, Vegito, Luffy, Zoro. I think those are just the only 2 prints I got. Or 3 prints. But yeah, without any further ado, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. Let's get this video started. Swagkage explaining Naruto's first great ninja war. Now, I don't know much about the first great ninja war. I don't know anything about it at all, honestly, now that I think about it. But this was a request by someone who commented in my video. So this one's for you, man. Let's check it out. See what's up.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Swagkage here, and
alright, I'm already pausing, man. It's been a while. Hey everybody, it's Swagkage here. Good times. Let's get into it.
Today I wanted to talk about something that I feel is pretty underexplored. Naruto is a series with a lot of lore, and some of the cornerstones of that lore are the Great Ninja Wars, which get brought up all the time. But the thing is, they're only ever either mentioned in passing or shown during brief flashbacks. Since the information is so scattered, I figured it was worth making a video to make everything a lot more digestible, and also because I believe that we can piece everything together in a way that leaves us with more information than we started out with. Now, all that said, I think that each of the wars warrants having its own video, so today I'm only going to be talking about the first. If people like this video enough, then I'll be sure to make a follow-up about the second.
Did he do a second? Oh, he did.
But for now, at least, we've already got plenty to discuss with just the first war. This is the conflict that we're told the least about directly, but I think we know more about the time period that this war took place in than we do about either the second or the third. All we know for sure is that in the middle of the war, Hashirama called for the first ever Five-Kage summit, and that sometime toward the end of the war, Tobirama was killed by the Kinkaku force. These things are clearly said to have happened during...
Alright, I'm gonna pause it real quick, because from what I know in Naruto, it sounds... And correct me if I'm wrong, we'll get more into it later in the video, but it sounds like Hashirama wasn't alive throughout the whole war, because I don't think that when Tobirama took over, Hashirama was still alive. And here's the thing, I don't know how he died. Everyone's always saying, like, the biggest question in Naruto, I follow this Naruto fan page on Facebook, or not fan page, but this group, and the biggest questions are usually brought up, like, how did Hashirama die? Yeah, that's it. A lot of people are speculating that it was because he did Mitonic regeneration, but his version of it, so he kept healing and he just got really old quick, but he came back revived young when he did the reanimation. So, but I'm pretty sure during this war, he would have died early somehow, some way.
The first Great Ninja War, and though it may not,
because otherwise he would have clapped every village.
A lot that we can infer from these 2 pieces of information. Since the summit took place in the middle of the first war, it's important to note that the first Kage of each of the 5 great nations was present there. This, of course, means that they were all alive and in good health when the first war began. This is pretty interesting because it's very likely that none of them lived to see the end of the war. During the fourth Great Ninja War, shortly after he's summoned and woken up by Kabuto, Mu makes it very clear that he suspects Tobirama is the person who revived him and the other 3 Kage with the reanimation jutsu. Now, obviously, this is only something he'd say if Tobirama was still alive at the time of his death. And as we've already established, Tobirama was killed at some point during the first Great Ninja War by the Kinkaku force. Since Mu must have died at some point before Tobirama did, this means that he must have been killed during the first war, and it also means that the first Tsuchikage should have been killed as well. The same should also be true of
they killed each other, didn't they? Yeah.
Since we know that Mu and Gengetsu killed each other at the end of a lengthy death match. Something else we also know is that during his time as Hokage, Tobirama met with the second Raikage to discuss forming an alliance between the Leaf and the Cloud. Now, since the second Raikage
look how dope he looks.
that the first Raikage had already been killed. So Based on what we know, the only one of the original five Kage who could have possibly survived the First War was the first Kage. While it's totally within the realm of possibility
We
that he
don't know much
survived,
about
I
this
think
guy
it's
at all.
equally likely that he was killed at some point during this war as well. It's well known throughout the Sand Village that the Kage have a history of being assassinated. We also know, based on the
Yup.
fact that Kakazu was sent by the Waterfall Village to assassinate Hashirama at some point, that using assassins to wipe out village leaders wasn't completely off the table. And the first Kage in particular seems like he would have had a target on his back, since during the first five Kage summit, he was, of all five Kage, the least cooperative by far.
Oh
He
yeah.
asked for a lot more than any of the other villages did, and made it pretty clear that he wouldn't be taking part in Hashirama's proposed alliance unless he got what he wanted. Now this goes beyond the
I remember this part. I'm watching some reaction channels on YouTube where they're watching and they're at this part of the arc, and yeah, I mean I agree with him though because he lives in a village that's bunch of sand. They can't really grow crops and everything. So he's like, nah, we don't want your tailed beast. We want more food, more money because we need our people to live. It made sense. So he didn't want to take a tailed beast. They already had the one tail, and Hashirama was trying to give other tailed beasts to the villages to get the balance of power. So this dude says, nah, we straight, just give me the money, give me the food so our people can live. We already got our tail beast, we don't want another. And all the other Kage are like, we could all form together and take you out right now. And that's when things started to get like tense. And then that boy Hashirama's like, put his head down and started crying that they were all together. And his dream is like, let's be one in the future. It's a good arc, hella good arc. The war arc is dope. But I agree with this guy as far as why he was so stingy about it. Anyways, back to the video.
the other villages simply not liking the first Kage because of this. He may have been one of the only reasons the war went on for as long as it did. If he refused to agree to any peace offerings unless his initial terms were met, then it makes a ton of sense that somebody from one of the other villages, or even somebody from the Hidden Sand village, would have sent somebody to assassinate him just so that the war could be brought to an end. Now again, this may not be what happened at all. I might be way off the mark, but I think it makes a lot of sense, and of all the possibilities I was able to come up with, this is the one that seemed the most reasonable to me. Now, while all this does give us an idea of how bloody and costly the war may have been, it doesn't tell us anything about what caused it. Even considering everything we do know, this is still pretty vague. We are shown a glimpse of pre-war tension through a flashback that happens just before Madara's fight against the five Kage. Madara tells Mu and Inoki that the Stone Village would be wise to bow to the might of Konoha, and it's heavily
What a
implied
power
that
move,
later,
dude.
shortly
What a
before
power
or
move.
after this, he fought both of them in an effort to show them what would happen if they refused. It's also pretty clearly implied that Hashirama had attempted to establish a friendly relationship with the stone at this point, and I'm not sure if
Yeah.
Madara went to any other villages and did something like this, or what the Leaf's relationship with those villages would have been at this point, but this should have been more than enough to at least plant the seeds of discourse between the Leaf and the stone. Something we
sir.
can infer from this is that the conflict may have been rooted in fear. Without even having fought against Konoha, I can imagine that just hearing about Madara and Hashirama fight, a fight so explosive that it
Bro.
created the entire final valley, would have been more than enough to spook a handful of foreign village leaders.
Yes,
This is
sir.
implied to be at least part of the reason at the first five Kage summit anyway, since after all, every village except the Sand is asking for one or more Biju in exchange for agreeing to peace. Of course, it's also very...
This is the crazy part about it too, because I remember, I don't know if there was a video clip I saw or if it was a reaction channel that I saw, but basically when they're going over the five Kage summit and Hashirama's being really nice and humble and everyone's basically saying like, bro, why are you being like that? This isn't becoming of a village leader for you to bow down to us. And literally the thought process of everyone is like, bro, you know this dude could clap you easy first 3 seconds in a fight, and you guys are out here underestimating the first Hokage. He didn't even have to be as nice as he was and give you Biju so that you can have the balance of power. He could have just been, all right, I'm the first Hokage. We got all the tail beasts. You guys are going to bow down to us, and if you have a problem with that, fight me. He could have been like that, but he was nice enough to do it, and people just underestimated him. At least the Kage did in the first summit.
likely that a major reason this war took place is because of every village's desire for land and resources. Now, at least based on Hashirama's behavior, it doesn't seem like the Leaf had any intention of expanding or conquering its enemies. That said, I don't think the village really had a choice and ended up being forced to participate out of necessity. This may sound a bit odd at first, since if, as I just said, the other villages all had plenty of reason to be afraid of Konoha, it wouldn't make much sense for them to attack it. But the thing is, the land acquired is surrounded
Now
by
with
other
Hashirama there.
nations. It's pretty much in the center of all of them. As we can see, while it is still hypothetically possible possible for ninja from one village to travel to any of the others without necessarily having to pass through the Land of Fire, doing so is far from ideal.
Oh
There
yeah,
are
they
three
gotta go
different
like
ways that
this.
this could have led to the Leaf getting pulled into the war. The first is that one or more of the other villages truly did try to conquer it because of how much military value its location had. Control of the Land of Fire, especially in addition to any one of the four nations surrounding it, would have made conquering the remaining three nations significantly easier. The Leaf being surrounded by enemies may have made the other villages a bit less apprehensive about attacking it, since they may have felt that the constant pressure from all sides would be enough to
Yo, the Mist had a lot of freaking territory.
and the military of all of its opponents. Something that's equally possible is that none of the other villages declared war on Konoha, but instead had a habit of passing through the Land of Fire and fighting with other villages while they were there. This, of course, would have posed a massive risk to the non-ninja population of the Land of Fire, and probably would have forced the Leaf Village to step in to save them.
Yeah.
The last, and at least in my opinion, most interesting possibility is that the Leaf didn't initially participate in the First War at all. We know that Hashirama really wanted to establish a friendly relationship between the Leaf and all of the other ninja villages, and it's possible that he may have actually temporarily succeeded. Before the First War began, one or more of the other major villages may have seen Konoha as an ally. As a matter of fact, this is even implied in the flashback I mentioned earlier, when Inoki hints at the possibility that Hashirama has already said that the Leaf and the Stone are on good terms.
I remember that, yeah.
And the Leaf wasn't initially involved in the war at all, its position would have made it really tempting for the other villages to ask for its help, especially if all of those other villages were under the impression that the Leaf Village was an
Who started the war though? That's the big question.
Hashirama wouldn't be able to agree to help all of the villages that were involved if
Right.
they were all fighting each other, and this may have been what led to the first Five Kage Summit being called in the first place. If the Leaf didn't actually have to fight in the First War, but felt pressured to do something about it in order to maintain a healthy relationship with all of its neighbors, then calling a peace summit like this makes total sense. Now, any of these three things could have been the catalyst for Hashirama's decision to meet with the other Kage, but in any case, as we know, the summit wasn't very effective. As I mentioned earlier, the first Kazekage was without a doubt partially responsible for this, since he brought some pretty ludicrous terms to the table in an environment when tensions
I wouldn't say ludicrous. I see where he's coming from. Also think like I wish instead of Baruto, because I only seen a couple episodes of Baruto, is like instead of that, I wish we got more backstory on the prior Kage, maybe more backstory on the Akatsuki, more backstory on like Minato's life, because I'm curious to see what this dude's powers and abilities were. He has like a dope design. Every other Kage looked hella old and ugly, except for Hashirama. This dude had a dope design, and you know, in like traditional anime, at least from what I've seen, I haven't seen that much anime, but when the design looks good, you know the dude's gonna be strong or cool in some way.
Rocky was the matter of the Biju. Having one or more of these things at their disposal may have made the other Kage a bit more reckless than they would have been without them, even if they had entered the summit fully intent on agreeing to peace. This could have not only potentially done a lot to make the other villages less afraid of Konoha by making them feel like the playing field had been evened a little, but also done just as much to make them even more afraid of all of the other non-Konoha villages now that everyone had a tailed beast or two under their control.
Yeah.
Feelings like this, especially if they're widespread, are obviously
Konoha
not
Suna
good for
Iwa
ongoing
Kiri
peace
Kumo.
negotiations. And I mean, the peace negotiations already weren't going super well to begin
Holy
with,
crap.
so this was one big recipe for disaster. Something else that also likely played a large part in the war is the existence of village infighting and rogue factions. When Tobirama tried to follow up on Hashirama's attempts at peace by forming an alliance with the Cloud Village, we know of course that he and the second Raikage were assaulted by the Gold and Silver Brothers. All the sources we have described this incident as a coup, which means whether Kinkaku and Ginkaku acted alone or they were acting on behalf of a larger group of people, their actions were probably politically motivated. Now, I doubt events of this magnitude, people attacking village leaders and nearly killing them in broad daylight, were all that common, but the outcome of this war was obviously very important to a lot of people. So it makes sense that if enough people disagreed strongly enough with the decisions made by those in charge of them, that they, along with other members of their village, may go rogue and fight on behalf of what they think is best. Now, it's one thing to claim that infighting like this existed, but an entirely different thing to claim that it had a substantial effect on the war. But at least if we take a look at Kinkaku and Ginkaku again, it seems like they were a pretty serious threat in the First War, despite the fact that they should have been operating independently. It is true that at one point the Kinkaku force worked as operatives.
I like the tattoos they got going on right here.
When they killed Tobirama, it's extremely unlikely that this was still the case. I highly doubt Kinkaku and Ginkaku would be allowed to set foot in the Cloud Village again after attempting to assassinate the second Raikage. So it doesn't really add up that a force they were in charge of would be a part
Cloud
of the
Ninja highly skilled
long
Kinkaku
after
unit.
this had happened. And yet, despite Despite all of this, as we know, the Kinkaku Force was responsible for Tobirama's death. And we also know that this wasn't because Tobirama or anyone...
R.I.P. my guy. I'm really sad to hear that this dude got taken out by Kinkaku and Kinkaku. Like, I feel like Tobirama would have been stronger though.
from the Leaf, for that matter, had tracked them down, but instead because they had tracked down the Leaf Ninja and surrounded them. And, I mean, this is just one rogue faction. It's possible that there were plenty of others all over the place operating independent from the village they originated from. And depending on what each faction's motives were, they could have done plenty to slow down or even temporarily stop the Ninja World's progress towards peace. Anyway, I think I've covered everything I wanted to by now, all the major stuff anyway, but if I missed anything, be sure to let me know. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care.
Hey, another banger by the boy Swagkage. Quick disclaimer, make sure you guys go ahead and check out his channel because he posts some great content. I have a ton of videos that I need to check out that have been requested by the people, because he's posted a lot of content. The last time I uploaded Swagkage was over 4 months ago or something like that. But yeah, he's posting way new content. Look at this. Let me see if I can. Oh, it doesn't show the videos I've watched. Shows some, but yeah. Anyways, that was a good video. Like I said, I don't know a lot about the first Great Ninja War. I don't think anyone knows a ton of it, but we know a little bit of information, and I'm glad Swagkage was able to put his take on it because it was very interesting. I know that all the Hashirama, the second Hokage, and all that stuff. I just don't know who started it. That's the biggest question for me. Is like who started the Great Ninja War. And it's a good thing that he brings up the point that it could have been because people were being petty. They didn't want to do the alliance, so they're like, all right, you know what? You don't want to do an alliance. We'll go ahead and try to overtake you and try to kill the Kazekage. And also the fact that nobody wanted peace. Two people try to do peace, like Tobirama and the second Raikage, and all of a sudden they get assaulted. But nonetheless, it was a good video. I want to check out some of the comments here. Let me see.
But the thing is, the land of fight...
Explain Killer Bee's rapping skills. Yo, legit, bro. Let's do a video on that, or have Swagkage do a video on that. Man, I kill for a prequel series. I'm telling you guys, instead of Naruto, I want to check out like a series showing like, because we don't know like a whole lot about Minato's past other than when he was young, and then when he was right before he was Sensei, or right before he was Hokage, and then he's Hokage, and that's it. He had so many years. I want to see when he's like young, kind of like Itachi's age, and then middle young, a little bit teenager, and then adult. Don't let distract you from the fact that Hiruzen participated in all 4 wars. Hey, facts. I've been hearing a lot of talk, and this is something that we talk about on the Facebook groups, that Hiruzen was the worst Hokage, didn't take care of Naruto, problematic. He was someone who laid back and bent over backwards for Danzo, let him do whatever he wanted. Hashirama was very patient for someone who could destroy the other village. That's what I'm saying. Alright, this video is getting too long. I'm going to stop reading the comments. But I always check the comments at the end of the videos because they're funny as hell. But yeah, that's the video. I'm glad to be back posting some Naruto content. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Leave a like down below if you like the video. Comment what your thoughts are on the first Great Ninja War or Naruto content as well. I'm taking requests, so if you want me to check out a video on Swagkage, Sith the Program, or any other Naruto or anime content, leave it down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.